you come to Earth, you live lives after life after life. You have hundreds and hundreds of lives because you have to understand every single situation. You have to be every nationality. You have to be every religion. You have to live on every continent in the world. You see the amount of knowledge you must accumulate? You can't do all of that in one lifetime. This can take hundreds and hundreds of lifetimes to learn all of these things before you can go back and graduate. So you accumulate karma during that time. What goes around comes around. That's a law of the universe. It must be paid back. So if you've been doing this for hundreds and hundreds of lives, a lot of us get stuck. We're just making the same mistake again and again and again instead of moving forward. They said, doesn't matter to them how long it takes you to learn a lesson. You have eternity. Do you want to take eternity to learn it? Because every time you come back with karma, you are put together with the same people, same circumstances, only now it's even a little harder until you finally learn the lesson. That's what I mean by the awakening. The veils start lifting. We have gotten trapped in karma. We're going round and around in the wheel of karma instead of progressing. This is very important to the story that I'm going to be telling you. Okay. But in the very, very beginning, and I've lectured on this other times at this conference, we were created by the ETs. So they have been involved with us since the very, very beginning. This is why they have so much interest in us, because they have always taken care of us since the very beginning. In the very beginning, whenever there are councils, there's councils over solar systems, there's councils over galaxies, there's councils over universes. They're all very set plans and rules and regulations that everything is run by. So whenever a planet reaches the point when it can support life, this is very, very important in the history of that planet. And it goes into the council in the history books. The planet is now ready to receive life. It has to be cooled down to the point where life can exist. Now, I have taken people back, and see, I don't lead these people. They just go to these past lives. Some of these people have gone back to when the world was being created. I've had them be part of when the universes were being created. You've all done that. You've all been co-creators. You imagine the power you have and you don't even realize it. You were here. You were able to do those things. It means you can do them again once you understand that. I've had them go back to where the oceans were being created, and they were part of all of that. And I've also had them there when the volcanoes were erupting, and life couldn't form on Earth yet because the atmosphere was too full of ammonia. So they had to wait till it cooled down enough that life could form. They said this was all done by what they call the archaic ones, the ancient ones. And this means they've been around forever. They said in the very beginning, the archaic ones did it because that was how they were formed. And as they went out into space and began to travel, their job was to create life on any planet that was suitable to have life. And people always say, well, how does God fit into this picture? This is a way of putting the evolutionist theory and the creationist theory together, because God is very much involved in the picture. They call him the source of everything, and that's where we all began. Every one of us started with the source, including the ETs. They are closer to God, if you want to call him that, than we will ever be, because they've been following his instructions since the beginning, but also they depend on him for their very life. They don't consume food the way we do. They absorb light through their bodies. And we're eventually getting to that point. We're all progressing in that direction. They absorb light through the skin. And I said, well, where does the light come from? It comes from the source. So they are closer to him than we will ever be. And they have been receiving instructions since the beginning of time. You go here, you go there, this is what they do. Many of them never go back to their home planets. Many of them don't even have a home planet to go back to because it's been destroyed. So this is their job, to just go from place to place, checking on these things. Can you imagine how many eons of time this would take as you had to go and keep progressing and checking all of this? Because it would be thousands and thousands of years on each part of all of this. So when the Earth finally cooled down enough to support life, they said go to Earth and introduce life on the cellular stage. And they never know what the life is going to look like. The important thing is to get life started. Start it with a single cell organism, and then it will multiply. To get life of some kind going. They don't care what it forms into as long as it is life and begins to grow. First it'll be plants, then animals. It takes a long time. I'm probably going to have to condense this down some because there's a